You saw WandaVision trending on Twitter last week after the 5th episode premiered, and for good reason. Shit hit the fan and our minds are blown. I'll tell you what you need to know because I'm just as hyped about it, so let's get right into it. The show starts off with creative recreations of classic TV from the 50s to the 80s. Wanda and Vision are main characters of the town of Westview who just moved there and are trying to fit in. Things are going as well as they can be, but there are instances where things feel off, and they keep seeing a symbol of a sword. 3 episodes into the series are where there are so many questions, and episode 4 gives us some answers. So the timeline is right after Thanos has snapped half of the population into dust. We're in a hospital, and the character that is snapped back is a woman named Monica Rambeau. She's at the hospital because her mom had cancer, and for 5 years, Monica has been snapped away, and everyone is coming back in an instant. If you remember Captain Marvel, Monica was the little girl, and her mom was Maria Rambeau, Captain Marvel's best friend. Coincidentally enough, remember that sword sign that we were seeing all over the place in earlier episodes? Yeah, those are actually a company kind of like S.H.I.E.L.D., but sword, made by Monica's mom. And that's why when they bring up that Captain Marvel could have stopped Thanos, she snapped at the officers because she's basically her godmother. Now I'm explaining this as if my mom and dad need help to understand, because they do, and it's a lot easier for everybody. The other officer in this episode is named Jimmy Woo, and he's from Ant-Man and the Wasp. He's the one that is tasked with Ant-Man and him being under house arrest. When he and Monica first meet, it's because there was a call of a mysterious town that doesn't exist. Being freshly unsnapped, Monica decides what could be the harm. She walks up to the town and gets sucked into it. Sword comes with full force and sets up shop right next to the town. This is where they bring in another character from the MCU, but we haven't seen her in years. Her name's Darcy, and she was in the first 2 Thor movies alongside Natalie Portman as Jane. Basically, she's a scientist and figures out that there's a broadcast signal coming from the town, and she needs a very old TV to display it. And we find out that Wanda is hosting the whole show and creating and puppeteering everything inside. And at the final moment of the episode, Monica comes shooting out of the town because she touched the source subject of Wanda's deceased twin brother, Pietro, aka Quicksilver. On to episode 5, this is more of a mixture between the TV show and real life. We are now in the 80s and Wanda has given birth to twin boys. Wanda is starting to become more carefree with when and how she uses her powers, and Vision can tell something's off with the whole situation. If you can't recall back, he actually died when Thanos took the Mind Stone out of his head. Now back in real life, Monica and Darcy and Jimmy are trying to figure out how they're going to get back inside the town or how they're going to contact Wanda. There's planning and drones and the mention of another scientist that could help. And maybe it's Jane, but people on the internet seem to think that it's actually Reed Richards. He's Mr. Fantastic from Fantastic Four. He's the stretchy guy. But don't you worry your little head, because right now it's all just in the peripherals. Just speculation, even though people are probably right. Now on the inside of the town, Vision, who is strangely alive-ish, is finding out that things aren't as they seem. When someone he works with is giving back cognitive control, and he's worried about getting back and how he got there, and that leads Vision to the conclusion that he also doesn't know how he got there, and he needs to confront Wanda. And at the ending of the episode is where people lost their minds on Twitter. Wanda and Vision have their argument, and then there's a knock at the door. And she admits that she didn't do that. They open the door and bam, it's her brother Pietro. Kind of, let me explain. Pietro/Quicksilver in the Avengers movie died at the hands of Ultron, and he was played by Aaron Taylor Johnson. The person that knocked at the door was Quicksilver, from the X-Men franchise, played by Evan Peters. X-Men was owned by Fox until Disney bought it, and now that they're under one company, we can see amazing stuff and different groups come together. And when I saw it, I literally almost fell out of my chair. I'm so excited to see what the next episode brings. You can see the show on Disney Plus, and subscribe and like the video to see more videos like this. Also, over on my Instagram and TikTok, I've been making edits on movies. I think they're pretty good, but check them out for yourself, and I'll see you later.